What a difference a day makes. From 70s to snow, winter returns to central Indiana. We had snow in downtown Indy earlier today, and it's going to be a cold start to your St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for inviting us in. It's 11 o'clock, so Angela, sounds like we're going to need layers of green tomorrow.
Yes, green gloves.
Yep.
Green hat.
Yep.
Green scarf.
Check.
Green jacket.
There you go.
Because it's cold. Wind chills already in the single digits at this hour.
Lovely.
Yes, lovely is right. It's the middle part of March. We're looking ahead to a cold St. Patrick's Day. It feels like 8 in Indianapolis right now. The current wind chill in Lafayette is 2, and it feels like 3 in Kokomo. Low temperatures tomorrow morning in the teens. Those wind chills in a few places may go sub-zero. We also continue to monitor live Doppler 13 radar and still a few bursts of snow. With temperatures dropping, still some bursts of snow. Some slick spots are possible overnight and early tomorrow. It is heavy coat weather at the bus stop. Morning temperatures with those bursts of snow around in the teens, wind chills near or slightly below zero, and we don't make it out of the 20s for St. Patrick's Day tomorrow.
All right, Angela, thanks so much. New energy laws out of the Indiana State House tonight are sparking concern with some advocates who are warning they could actually show up on your utility bill. Our Alex Almanza is at a city council meeting tonight to show us what's driving that concern.
Yeah, this presentation really talked about the highlights and lowlights of the recent legislative session, specifically energy legislation. And we talked with community members who say that all roads lead back to data centers and the amount of energy that they pay for.
Even though they weren't on the agenda, data centers quickly became the focus of Monday's Environmental Sustainability Committee. Residents showing up to talk about the impact as projects continue popping up across central Indiana.
Data centers are causing utility bills to spike dramatically and, promising a serious increase, a massive increase, if you will, in the amount of energy that we need.
Energy demand, Citizens Action Coalition Executive Director Kerwin Olson says, is driven by AI facilities. Olson was asked to go before the committee to give a status update on recent energy legislation at the State House, including small tax changes for future projects, like House Enrolled Act 1210, which reroutes 1% of data centers' electricity sales tax from the state back to local communities that host them. Committee member Jesse Brown also serves on Olson's board.
I know I'm not alone as being a counselor who has tons of constituents reaching out frustrated by their energy bills going up. All of this is just really disturbing, and in our state, local governments and even state governments don't have much we can do because we've painted ourselves into a corner where our regulators can't regulate.
Frustration comes amid efforts from the Trump administration to shift costs to tech companies. President Trump just weeks ago signing the rate protection pledge.
It's actually going to mean the prices come down. You're going to see how badly they want. Some centers were rejected by communities for that, and now I think it's going to be just the opposite.
It's still unclear how much relief customers will see.
Ratepayer advocates tell me that the next State House session is going to be just as, if not even more critical to protect ratepayers. Until then, a lot of the action is going to be here in the council chambers as more data center developments come through. At the City County building, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
Tonight, we're getting new insight about that deadly shooting at a restaurant in Castleton. Investigators tonight say 24-year-old Justin Hignite was shot and killed at a Longhorn Steakhouse that's on the northeast side. This happened last night. Police tell us there was some kind of argument between Hignite and some other people in the lobby. People at the restaurant told us they saw shell casings both outside and inside.
Yeah, it was pretty busy. It was kids in there and everything. Like, they almost had a full house. And as we were sitting at the bar waiting for our food, we heard 3 loud bangs.
Police detained 3 people of interest who were later released. But if you have any information about what happened last night, please call IMPD or Crime Stoppers. Longhorn Restaurant was not open this afternoon. A spokesperson for the restaurant told us they were saddened by the violence and they are grateful no one else was hurt. Tonight at 11, people in Mooresville are now honoring that Hoosier native who died in the Middle East.
Disheartening. I mean, it's one of our own, veterans serving his country.
38-year-old Seth Koval was one of 6 airmen killed last week in that refueling plane crash in Iraq. In his hometown of Mooresville, there are signs up tonight, including one at Northwood Elementary School, that read, "Our hearts are with the Koval family." Flags are flying at half-staff. The American Legion tells 13 News they'll be supporting the Koval family any way they can. Right now, we're working to learn if there are any plans for memorials in the coming days. Right now, President Donald Trump is urging other countries to help the U.S. secure the Strait of Hormuz. A fifth of the world's oil is usually transported through that critical waterway. But since the conflict with Iran began, strikes on commercial ships in and around the strait, even just the threat of strikes, have slowed shipping. So that has increased the price of oil and the push on lawmakers to ease pain at the pump. Since this conflict in Iran began, the price for a gallon of unleaded has risen by nearly 70 cents here in Indiana, but it's not just the cost of gas.
Almost every good is shipped somewhere, and that relies on fuel. And so when fuel prices rise, you're going to see basically all goods and some services, the price is going to start creeping up pretty quickly.
Economist Kyle Anderson with IU's Kelley School of Business told us that's not the only reason food prices could get higher. You see, a third of the world's fertilizer used by farmers comes through that same strait. So when fertilizer prices go up, Anderson told us prices are going to respond immediately. But he urges people not to panic. Here's a look at the other stories making headlines right now. Tonight we're working to learn how an 18-year-old died here in Indianapolis after his body was discovered last week. The Marion County Coroner's Office tonight is confirming it is investigating. Now a memorial for Travion Pirtle is growing behind Fervent Ministries Church near 38th and German Church Road. Police say he was found in a cellular tower enclosure. Pirtle had been missing since March 9th. A father tonight is now taking a plea deal connected to his toddler's death. The newly released agreement says Leonta Anderson will plead guilty to neglect of a dependent. We were there as Anderson appeared before a judge back in September. His 2-year-old daughter died after finding her father's gun on the top of a shoe rack and accidentally shooting herself. Anderson faces up to 4 years in prison. 4 people are under arrest tonight after trying to steal an ATM and then leading police on a chase. Police say it happened early Sunday morning in Crawfordsville at a bank on Main Street. They say officers found a stolen pickup was used to rip the ATM from its base. They say the suspects drove off after they couldn't get inside. Investigators say they crashed near I-74 and were quickly taken into custody. The president and CEO of the Indianapolis Zoo has resigned. Dr. Rob Shoemaker has been in that role 6 years. He took a leave of absence earlier this year for undisclosed reasons. Shoemaker released a statement saying he is stepping down with very mixed emotions, saying he's excited for the future of the zoo. Remember, you can find all of our latest local stories streaming anytime. Just scan this QR code on your screen. Tonight, family, friends, and the Fighting Irish said goodbye to legendary Notre Dame football coach Lou Holtz. They all gathered inside the Basilica of the Sacred Heart in South Bend to honor Holtz. He led the Irish for 11 seasons between 1986 and 1996, notching 100 wins as the head coach. That included a national championship in 1988. That's why today was about football and faith. His son Skip paid tribute to his father.
If you met him, you were happy. If you interacted with them, you were lucky. If you were friends with them, you were favored. If you were coached by him, you were fortunate. If he was your dad, you were blessed. I love you, Dad.
Faith and prayer were not additions to Lou Holtz's life. They were its foundation. They made him the man he was.
That was Notre Dame's former president, Father John Jenkins. Outside the Basilica today, fans joined the short processional route to Cedar Grove Cemetery. That's where Lou Holtz was laid to rest alongside his wife, Beth. Holtz died 2 weeks ago at the age of 89. Growing trouble at the TSA. Tonight we'll show you how the ongoing shutdown could mean turbulence for travelers before the plane is even off the ground.
From snow to 70s, I'll help you prepare for the week ahead.
And the 1955 Crispus Attucks basketball team made history, a team of trailblazers who won a state championship.
A lot of times I think we forget our history, but we have great history sitting right here in the city of Indianapolis and Indiana, and I think it's important that we highlight that.
Tonight, as our city gears up for the Final Four, we'll show you how a new take on a play is sharing a story that is about so much more than basketball. That's next.